The rain outside was steady, tapping gently against the small kitchen window. Nina sat alone at a narrow wooden table, her hands wrapped around a chipped mug of tea. The steam rose slowly, curling in the dim light. She wasn't really drinking. She was just holding it for warmth and for something to do with her trembling hands. It had been nearly a year since she left Ukraine, nearly a year since she stepped onto a crowded bus with only a backpack, her passport, and a single change of clothes. The sounds of explosions, the sight of crumbling buildings, the smell of smoke, they still followed her in dreams. Poland had been a kind of refuge, but never truly home, not with the weight of so many memories behind her. And now, another weight pressed on her, silent, invisible, but impossible to ignore. She had missed her period. At first, she told herself it was stress. She told herself it was nothing. But the days kept passing, and the knot in her stomach only grew tighter. Finally, she went to a small pharmacy on a side street. The cashier didn't look at her twice when she bought the test, but to Nina, it felt like everyone in the store knew. Back in her apartment, she sat on the edge of the bathtub as the test developed. It didn't take long. 2 lines, clear, undeniable. She stared at them until the edges of her vision blurred. The man, he had been kind, gentle even, but he wasn't someone she could build a life with. Not now, not here, not with everything else she carried. In Poland, abortion was almost completely forbidden. Hospitals would refuse her. There was no safe legal way through the official system. She felt trapped. For several nights she searched online forums, encrypted messages, whispered conversations with other women at the shelter. Most roads led nowhere, but one name kept coming back, always spoken quietly. Dr. Marek, a gynecologist who sometimes helped women like her. Discreetly, privately. He had a small practice on the outskirts of Warsaw. One evening, she sat staring at the numbers scribbled on a scrap of paper. Her fingers hovered over the phone for a long time before she finally dialed. The voice on the other end was calm, low, professional. He didn't ask for unnecessary details, just her stage of pregnancy, about 6 weeks, and her preferred method. She told him she wanted it over quickly. He said he could perform the procedure under local anesthesia. Safe, private, over in less than 20 minutes. They agreed on the next afternoon. The street where his office stood was quiet, lined with bare winter trees. The building itself was old, its yellow paint fading. A small brass plaque by the door read, Dr. Marek, Gynecology. Inside, the air smelled faintly of antiseptic and coffee. There was no receptionist, no waiting room chatter, only the doctor, tall, with silver hair at his temples and warm eyes behind his glasses. He greeted her softly, then locked the door behind her. "You understand what will happen?" he asked. She nodded, her throat tight. "It will be quick. I will use local anesthetic. You will feel some pressure, some cramps, maybe sharp pain, but it will be safe. Are you ready?" She whispered, "Yes." The examination room was small, lit by a single warm lamp over the table. He motioned for her to remove her coat, then her shoes. She felt exposed even before she lay down. He handed her a clean white sheet to drape over her lap. The sound of metal instruments being arranged on a tray filled the room, precise, deliberate, unmistakable. She lay back, her legs resting in cold metal stirrups. The sheet covered her, but she still felt the vulnerability like a chill on her skin. The doctor adjusted the lamp, its light focused on the space between them. "Breathe slowly," he said. The air felt thick. The first sting of the anesthetic made her flinch. A small, sharp pain deep inside, followed by a slow, spreading burn. It faded after a minute, replaced by a dull numbness, but she knew the numbness would not keep all the sensations away. He began. At first it was only pressure, a tugging deep within her body, a strange and foreign intrusion. Then came the cramps, sudden sharp waves that made her toes curl. She gripped the sides of the table, her knuckles white. Halfway, he murmured, his voice calm but firm. She focused on the rain outside, imagining each drop as a bead of time passing, but each movement inside her body pulled her back. The cramps grew stronger. She bit her lip, eyes fixed on the ceiling. "Try to relax your muscles," he said. She tried, but her body resisted, tightening with each pull. A tear slid down her temple. One cramp was so intense it pulled a gasp from her lips. "I know," he said quietly, "almost done." Time felt strange, stretched, heavy. Then suddenly it shifted. The instruments were removed. The absence of pressure was startling. "It's finished," he said, placing the tools in a tray with a soft metallic sound. Her legs trembled as she sat up. He gave her a sanitary pad, a glass of water, and instructions. Bleeding for a few days, cramps, warning signs to watch for. His tone was clinical, but there was a trace of kindness in it. She dressed slowly, the ache in her lower body steady but bearable. Her hands were still trembling. Outside, the sky was overcast, the air damp and cool. She walked down the empty street, her footsteps soft on the wet pavement. She didn't feel relief, not exactly, and not regret either. What she felt was more complicated, a blend of sadness, exhaustion, and something that might, in time, become strength. She pulled her coat tighter, her scarf higher around her neck. Ahead, the tram station glowed faintly through the mist. The city continued around her, indifferent yet sheltering. Nina stepped onto the tram, the doors closing behind her with a hiss. She stood near the window, watching the blurred lights pass. And for the first time that day, she allowed herself to breathe deeply, slowly, steadily.